Hey everyone, I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. Well, welcome everyone to episode 43. Well, the anticipation is over. It is, in fact, our first Final Fantasy X episode where we're going to just be starting out. We're not going to make it too far into the story, and well, that's because there's a whole lot of just story here, not a whole lot of actual gameplay, more story than anything. But before we start, we need to lay down some groundwork here. All right. I thought it'd be kind of cool and interesting to talk about our humble beginnings with Final Fantasy X, right? Because if you are like Alex and myself, which based on interaction and people that do follow us and interact, you probably are about mid 30s men. Yeah, you probably played these around the same time we did. And man, I remember distinctly. Obviously, Final Fantasy X was PlayStation 2, right? We didn't have a PlayStation 2 at the time, but my next door neighbor
hmm
did. And it was the demo disc, in which, obviously anyone young these days, what's demo disc? Well,
Yeah.
it's what it sounds. A bunch of games that are demos on a disc, and Final Fantasy X was on that. And I played that demo on his PlayStation 2, and I was like, dude, this is it. I got to get me one of these,
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I think I think that was summer going into seventh grade, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, so I worked that whole summer, man, just mowing lawns, washing cars. I think a neighbor needed help painting his house, so I helped that, and I scraped enough money.
Yeah.
I got that PS2. Did not have enough money to buy the game.
And that stuff was expensive. I remember like whitewashing some apple trees to get enough money to buy the PS2 back then,
Yes, yes,
Um,
but
yeah, and
that was the earliest memory of the demo disc.
demo disc. That's interesting. I definitely remember us hanging out quite a bit.
Oh yes,
I think I got it first, if I recall correctly, and you came over a bunch of times in the summer, but that pretty much sums it up for me as far as when I think about my first times playing Final Fantasy X, just awesome summer memories,
dude.
like
Yeah,
late nights, staying up, playing this game and everything, and it kind of like we'll get into this too as we play the game, but has some really awesome like summer vibes to it, I
it
think,
does.
overall. It's got kind of like this water theme to it and things like that. So yeah, for me, it just lends itself really well to summertime.
Yes. Well, and especially, we grew up in California, and so
Yeah.
kind of that heat and all that, yeah, definitely goes along. It's a lot of nostalgia here, Final Fantasy X is definitely my most played Final Fantasy. So unlike the Final Fantasy IX series, when I was like, I haven't done this, well, I have done plenty in 10. So I definitely am much more familiar with this.
We're going to be talking about the HD remaster,
Yes.
but as far as comparing it to the original, not a huge amount has changed. As far as the story,
No.
really nothing has changed. There are some minor tweaks, particularly when we get into the end game and
Yes.
some extra like super bosses and abilities and things like that. But yeah.
Yeah, but just as that note is, yeah, just we are assuming, all of us are just in the HD remaster essentially. So if there are minor details here and there that you're like, oh, that wasn't in the original, well,
Mhm.
probably not because we're talking about the remaster. That's where we're going to be getting
Mhm.
all of our media from screenshots, and stuff. And so kind of
Exactly.
just kind of laying that ground rule there. So here's the if you guys have, if you know anything about us and been listening to these episodes, we definitely take Final Fantasy X very seriously. Not right. No, we don't. We love to make fun of every single thing we can. So we're going to try our best to keep it rolling and moving. But if you're just like sitting there throwing your hand like, oh, can we please get, sorry, we're just having way too much fun.
Yeah, it's kind of how this game's going to be. I think it's going to be a lot more joking than there was in 9, just
Oh,
because,
yes.
especially with the addition of voice acting and things
Oh,
like that. You guys know
yes.
how that goes.
And yes, it's just great. It's hysterical. So again, apologize many times in advance for just pulling teeth at getting a move on with the story, but we're gonna try our best. We really, really are. So some interesting things now with this. With the playthrough of 9, it's pretty straightforward. There's, not too much you could do there. You do have your variety of characters you can use, and especially for me, not playing it that much, just doing kind of a standard playthrough, if you will, was actually, it was enough for me, right? I won't be able to do that for 10. So we kind of thought of how can we make this playthrough interesting for us, and actually maybe make it interesting for you guys instead of just making it like a standard old playthrough. Because if I tried doing that for 10, I would fizzle out. I wouldn't be able to. So I've been mulling over some ideas and talking to Alex about it. And I think what I'm going to do is I am going to choose 4 party members to use. Only 4. And that's just what I have to use for the game and see how it is. Now, what those actually are, I still don't know. I've been really trying to decide what to do with that. But I thought that would just be a really interesting twist, not using and not having the abilities or, whatever of 3 of the members.
And of course, we're doing this because we played through this game so many times that aside from doing a mod or something like that, and there are a lot of great mods out there, things that increase the challenge and all that kind of stuff, but we're just going to try and change it up by doing something we've never done before.
Yes.
And so for me, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I think Mark, your challenge sounds really good. I mean, I was thinking about that when you sent me that text last week about that, and I think there's a lot of different things that you can do to make it difficult. For me, what I'm going to be doing is basically I'm going to go with the expert sphere grid because it tends to have less barriers, and some things are available a little bit sooner. Then I'm just going to be reversing the role, so I'm going to have Tidus as Lulu. Orin will take up the Tidus role, Waka will be Yuna, Kamari will be Riku, and Riku will be somebody. I don't know.
You'll figure out.
But, yeah. So I thought that'd be kind of good.
And, I love this challenge because I originally tried this, and I never really make it past Mihan High Road, but I never made it past that. And I remember telling you about this, and you tried it, and I'm glad you're running with it because this will be so interesting to see what happens, with the innate abilities and stats rather for these characters, and they just all start sucking really bad around me, and that's why I was like, I don't want to do it.
Definitely.
I will be using just the standard sphere grid. I don't know. I kind of just like it more. I guess it's just more familiar for me, really, and so I will be using that. We're essentially kind of going through the options, right? Because you do have you have the choice. You can either go expert or original. And then, of course, of soundtracks, right? I agree, man. I think we're in agreement here, rather, is that gotta go with the classic original soundtracks.
Yeah.
You have the arranged as an option. I actually do really like the sounds. I did do a playthrough by just listening, and they are great, but it's not the same feel, you know what I mean? It's just
exactly.
As you go through these areas, you just instantly start playing the song in your head, and when it doesn't quite match up, it just feels off.
Yep. I mean, it's kind of the rose-colored glasses of nostalgia, I guess, because really do just have a soft spot for the classic original soundtrack. But yeah, I mean, like what you're saying too, I don't think that the remastered is bad at all.
No.
So it's just preference.
It's pretty good. One last thing that is going to be new moving forward here that I wanted to go ahead and hit up is, I don't know if Alex will, maybe he'll speak to this in a second, but I'm going to be creating some YouTube videos of my playthroughs this time. So last, with Final Fantasy IX and doing that was kind of when we were starting to just get a feel of what we actually even just wanted our podcast to be, right? And so that's how we started designing our episodes and put our notes together and all that. And that's when we both played through to kind of get familiar and make sure we're doing things as we're practicing what you preach, so to speak. And so this time around, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to record it and I'll just toss it up on YouTube. So if you are all interested, it'll be under our just YouTube name. If you even realized we did have one, not the right kind of industry for what we're going for, a podcast, but here we go. That's why I'm trying to get us into that. If you're interested, I'm going to toss them up the day after these episodes release just to kind of stagger it out a little bit. And check it out if you want.
Yeah, I'm still undecided yet if I'm going to be recording and things like that. I had a bit of a laptop issue that I had to resolve, so I might actually get into that.
Yeah.
But yeah,
All right. Well, without further ado, let's kick it off. So here we go. We are at Zanarkand, right? The beginning of the game starts, and I don't want to talk about the very beginning cinematic kind of scene. I guess not really cinematic. It's just a scene because I feel like I'm going to give something away. But it's the
mhm,
it's the one where they're all sitting by the fire, and it's playing the nice
yeah,
music. It's got all the weapons, and our main dude goes up and wants to tell us a story. Essentially, is what it
yep.
is.
Listen to my story.
This may
You
be the
guys,
last chance.
you guys all know,
Bum, bum,
man.
bum.
Final Fantasy X. I could tell even going through this is such a notorious game and like has so
It is.
many awesome quotes
Yes.
that, and I'm just excited. Let's get into this.
Yeah, and then from there, obviously, it goes beep 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 beep, beep, and then you lay down the beat, and you're like, yeah, I can get into
Yeah.
this, man. And
Ye-
I like this scene. It's kind of an interesting segue. I mean,
mhm.
again, I'm trying not to say too much without giving anything away, and so I like it because, dude, it's pretty cool. First thing you notice is, whoa, the fashion here is terrible, and then. Then you see the buildings in the background though, and it kind of just looks like everything's floating on water, and it looks
Yeah.
really awesome,
Yeah,
right?
the environment's awesome, but definitely the clothes. Like, what's up with Titus's stuff? I always love the fact that he's got like it's all offset. He's got one
Yes,
one pant leg longer than the other, and then he's got sort of like a weird sleeve on the other end with this.
yes, to match.
Yeah, but you ever notice what he has on the elbow? It's like origami or something.
Hey man, it's fashion. Is
I'm
what it
just saying,
is.
if you guys know. So
Look at the
really
character model.
interesting for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so at this point, of course, you do have free roam. You just got to go forward. You got a couple options of two groups of people you can talk to. But no matter what, here you go. You can name your character. It's the only named character in the game, or rather that you get to name. We're gonna nip it in the bud. Okay, here we go. We know this is the great debate, and we know we're making some of you quite possibly very upset about the name. We are just gonna pronounce it Tidus. Okay. We
Yeah.
know that some other people like to call it Tidus. It doesn't matter. Regardless, Alex and I don't know, we were like 11, 12 when we first started playing this. So it's like, you just called it what it was and we're rolling with it. It's a great
Hmm.
debate. We're not saying that it is Titus. We're not saying that it is Tidus. We're just saying we're going to pronounce it Titus. So we hope that you don't hate us for that and, turn the podcast off instantly. It's okay. It's just a name. You can pronounce it the way you like. So right, you had the choice. You can either talk to the chicks or you could talk to the kids. You got to go for the chicks first, right? And so I love he like takes the ball, right, and he's like spinning around. And he's like, where are you guys sitting? East block at the front row.
Yeah. Bit from the right or
Fifth for the
whatever.
right. If I score a goal, I'll do this. They'll know
This.
it's for you, okay? It's like, dude, this dude's a player, right? It's like, goodness gracious, he's gonna do that sign and he's gonna have like 50 chicks over there, like, oh, he did that for me, and stuff. Oh
Yeah,
gosh.
and what was that sign he does there too?
It's like it's like a W essentially if you put the
Like a
fingers
goal.
together. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like a field goal or something like
Yeah.
that.
I'll do this.
Yeah. Just comes up with something on the fly.
Absolutely, man. And so obviously then you have to go talk to the little kids that are being like a bit of a fourth wheel now. And so they want you to sign to. They're just super excited. I love the fact that like he's not holding a pen. Could they really not add in a pen? Was it like that hard to do that? He's just signing with his fingernails. And it's like, cool, man. He
Yeah.
scratched in your name on my blitzball. Awesome.
Titus. You just like see it scratched in there like
Yeah.
yeah. Pretty funny.
Uh,
And then basically, it's like, teach us how to blitz sometime. I can't tonight, but
well, yeah, it's like
tomorrow,
tomorrow.
well,
Well, it was. It's like they're like,
are you?
I can't right now, but maybe after the game. And then there's like
Hmm.
some kid that's like, you can't tonight. He's like,
Yeah.
oh right, well tomorrow. But I'm thinking about this, right? I'm like, who? If you know the story, obviously. If you don't, we're just assuming you know the story. It's like, what do you you mean, dude? Like, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot, I can't tonight. Oh yeah, whoops, sorry. Thanks, man. Thanks for watching my back. You know, it's like, what are you talking
Some
about,
stranger.
dude?
Yeah, who are you, kid?
Yeah.
Pretty much. But yeah, this is of course, and we can't pass up 2, 3. Teach us how to blitz.
Yeah, teach us how
Gotta
to
do that.
blitz. Choreographed it. It's like, dude,
Hmm
we got a game to play. Anyways, moving on because as we mentioned, I was in a coffee shop running away from home when I heard the news. Our
Zanar,
jet vanished right out of thin air. I knew my dad was the biggest blitzball player, biggest fan, and well, I don't remember the rest of it. But Zanar, oh
yeah.
Zanar, his little tail. Interesting, man. How many times have you actually like waited? Because you do have to wait. If you just run through, man, you only get
Yeah.
through as like third line. How many times have you actually waited and like listened to the whole entire thing?
A couple of times, I think. I mean, you can kind of waste the time talking to all the people, all the NPCs, and they'll just basically be saying things like, "Oh, you're playing the
Douglas.
was that what it was? The
Yeah, the
Douglas, yeah, the
Douglas.
Zanarkand Douglas tonight. So they're pretty serious. Watch out, all this kind of stuff. Interesting to note, there actually is an NPC. I'm forgetting. I think it's like a woman, sort of like a pink blouse or something like that. If you talk to her a couple of times, she'll ask if she can get free tickets to the game, and if you just lie to her and say that you can, then she gives you 2 potions. So that's pretty nice.
Really? I didn't know that. All right, that's
Yeah,
pretty interesting. I've
fun
only
fun
talked to
fact.
each one time, of it. I don't talk to multiple.
It's a rare one because she'll be running around, so you'll have to look out. She'll be sort of like running from group of people to group of
Okay.
people.
There
But
is there is a little boy that says like if you lose that he's gonna like punch you or
yeah,
something. I
right?
was like, what? I'm sorry, boy. Like let's
Kid's
just
a
pick him up
bully.
and just toss him right over the edge of that little road there. Like who you think you're talking to? I'm the star player of the Zanarkand Abes. Right? That's what he says.
Basically,
He's Jet's own flesh and blood.
basically like the LeBron James of this
Yeah.
game, man. Come on.
Oh, have some respect. Well, you get through the end, and then you got to make it through the crowd, right, until the actual stadium. And then once again, here is like, I don't know, probably literally one of the best cinematics ever. And then as the intro, it's just, of course, you have the song, right, which is,
Yeah,
super like all metal and stuff. And it's just,
yeah,
dude, awesome. It starts with Tidus, as you all know. We're not going to explain all of it, but is beginning. It's got the whole Blitzball Stadium, the teams and stuff. My favorite part is when Tidus like slams that player out of the sphere, and it's like number one. You just killed a person, pal. So, let's just call it what it is. And number
yeah.
two, why can't I slam Bixen out of a blitzball when
Oh,
I'm doing like why
that's
can't I do that? What the heck,
That's what
man?
I was gonna say, is the fact that like I'm like, dude, come on, your attack is like 3. I think when you first get them, it's
Yeah.
just there's no way. You never were able to do that in
Uh,
an actual game, Titus. Come on. But
nah,
also,
building it
I
up.
feel because I love that little pose that he does after he knocks him out. You see him sort of sitting there like all cocky with his
Yeah,
arms crossed,
he
like,
folds his
dude,
arms like, oh yeah.
it's like don't mess with me, man.
Dude, who like someone was in the stand there, someone just had a body just fly right at him going like 50 miles an hour. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, after that, it goes to some dude. We will learn his name in a second, but he's like, dude, he's no fear. He's got some brass plums on him. Like goodness gracious, he's like standing on some platform like 5,000 feet in the air, and he's drinking at that. Like, come on, man, that's you drink and walk on an edge. You already know what's gonna happen, but you get a good glimpse here. It looks at first almost looks like a tidal wave or something, right? It's just coming
Yeah.
out, and the
Yeah.
dude's holding his drink, like, yep, this is my last drink, kind of a
I
deal.
know, I love that. Kind of like summoning it or something like
Yeah,
that, you
or
know?
cheers, buddy.
Cheers, yeah.
Yep. And so moving forward, I love your little note here. If you ever
Yeah.
try to throw a ball underwater, yeah,
Dude,
go guys, go to your public pool, or if you have your own pool or
yeah.
whatever, and throw a ball. It's gonna go
Okay, guys.
really far.
Seriously, I'm not gonna lie. I used to get so stoked about this game back in the day that I would like, my parents had a pool and everything. It was
Yeah.
pretty sweet. So I go out there and I try to like sort of play blitzball. You ever try to throw balls underwater? Seriously, it just does not work
Just-
like that. These guys are
yeah.
strong,
It
man.
goes literally right in front of your face and just goes to the
Yeah.
top. Bloop.
Yeah, but like, I try to throw it and stuff like that. Be like, oh
uh,
yeah, I'm playing blitzball right now. I can breathe underwater too.
yeah, you gotta just sit there, breathe underwater. All right, moving on. We gotta move on. So, regardless, whatever this tidal wave or ball of water, whatever it is, it starts to obviously really jack up Zanarkand, right? Like starts shooting out basically energy beams or something. I don't know, and it starts
Hmm.
blowing up the city. Everything starts, going to chaos, breaking away. My favorite thing with this, and it's minor details that, after you do play it, it is kind of nice to pay attention to certain things instead of just like watching and enjoying it. You can pay the minor details. I like how as it moves through the city, the buildings kind of like, I don't know, they kind of like gravitate towards it, right? It
Yeah.
almost has like a gravitational pull or something. They kind of
Well,
distort,
yeah.
a little bit and they move, and it's a really interesting kind of concept if you think about that.
It's kind of like it's like sin is a giant black hole in this scene or something like that, where yeah, like what you're saying, everything starts to kind of like dissipate, I guess, in a
Yeah,
way, but like get stretched and pulled into it and distorted and all this kind of stuff.
yeah,
It's absolutely crazy.
yeah. It really is. And then where it is kind of left with Tidus, he's at the like basically the steps of the stadium, and you're able to move now, and you come on down, and he recognizes that drunkard. It's Orin, is what it is. And so you all run off. Basically, it's a lot of stuff moving on. And essentially, what happens is we get some like little scaly little things, right? And they pop up.
Hmm.
And Orin, Tidus is getting his butt handed to him. He's trying to swat at him with his hands. I don't know why he's even doing that. Like, falls down a couple times, and then he's like, "Take it,
Yep.
gift from Jet." My old
Oh
man,
man.
dude. What is this? He has even a more pathetic attempt to fight with the sword that he did with his hands. He should have just started slapping.
At this point too, it's really cool because we get our first introduction to you know, one of the antagonists of the story, or what we'll find out basically, it's Sin. We called it Sin, is
Yes.
what he says and
Yeah.
everything. And then I also thought it was interesting you talked about the Sin scales, the little scaly guys that popped up, and the you see like this like octopus or squid looking thing crash
Yeah.
into the building, releases all the sin scales from like its tail or one of its tentacles. It's just crazy how they kind of designed everything like that, I mean. And they definitely kind of had this like underwater theme with those guys too. I mean, dude looks like the little offsets look like squid, and then the little guys kind of look like, well, I don't know if they look like anything from,
Yeah, the sin scales. Yeah, they're kind of interesting little guys. But
yeah.
you
But
are
even
you
still.
are introduced into the battle system here. Just to go through it real quickly, it is turn based this time. It's not action or anything like that. And of course, you have the little meter on the side that shows whose turn it is, with turns coming up, kind of a deal. And so that's obviously what we're going through here is just the very initial introduction for that. Really easy. You just attack them, and this time, and you just kind of plow right through.
Hmm.
And then you're running up, and you do have, you got one of those giant like tentacle things, and that's what our first boss is. You run up to it, and it's Baku. Oh wait, no, wrong Final Fantasy. It's Sin Spawn Ames or Ames. I don't
Something
know.
like that, yeah.
An interesting thing. He uses gravity right off the bat, and that throws Orn into an overdrive. So the limit break in this, we actually just talked about this maybe an episode 2 ago, about like you can actually hold on to these, right? It doesn't, you
Mhm.
don't have to use it. So in this case, use it. And it's pretty cool because we at least get 2 different ones, because Tidus will definitely go into one also, probably on the next turn. And Orange is interesting because it's a sequential button entry, and
Yeah.
we'll get into the different moves as we unlock them and stuff, but it'll be different each time. What do you think about this, man? I never really had any challenge with it. Once you kind of get it down, I feel it's much easier. But dude,
Yeah.
every single time when I do this one, what is it, Dragon Feiner? It takes me like literally a second to look. I'm like, oh yeah, I know this. Boom, cranking out the controller.
Yep.
It's like muscle
Exactly.
memory.
Usually it's not hard at all. It's one of those things that I think the only time I've had a hard time was with button mapping on like the Steam version, where I was
uh,
using a controller and I wasn't sure which
which
ones
is
were
which?
which,
Yeah.
because it was coming up as keyboard controls and I had no idea what they correlated to.
You're like, oh
But
gosh.
Yeah, anyways, but yeah, just interesting note on the overdrives, basically, which are this game's limit breaks. And some of them are special like this, where they either require like a special button input, or you have to press X at a certain time,
Yep. Yep.
or yeah, they've got like a whole bunch of different sort of
Kind of
techniques,
games,
I
little
guess,
mini
for
game, or
Yep.
essentially.
Yep. And yeah, I mean, pretty much so you execute that. And it is important to note, even if you fail, it'll still take out all of the sin scales. So
Yeah.
this is, again, one of those ones that as long as you even just use his overdrive, you're not going to lose this battle because other than that, the boss, all he does is use Demi, which of course just reduces your HP by, I think, 1/8, so you're never going to die.
Yeah. You'll never die. And correct me if I'm wrong here too. I think it's just the number of hits, right? I don't think it's damage,
I
or is it
think so.
damage?
That was interesting when you put that because I thought about that too, and I don't think you could tell
Yeah, it is
because
pretty hard. It's
there's
just like the little tentacles disappear as you do
yeah,
more damage. So I
right,
don't
and
know
it
if it is
seems
a
like
cap or if it's just like, yeah, you hit him 6 times and he's dead.
well, but sometimes I've noticed if you get a critical with like Orin or something, it does like 300 damage. It'll take away two or three. So,
Interesting.
I
Well,
mean,
maybe if any of
obviously
you
you wouldn't
know,
ever.
it's not like it's really that big a deal. It's just kind of an interesting thing. But
Yeah,
regardless, don't use potions here. You literally cannot die. It's impossible. And I didn't know that the first time. So, of course, naturally, I started healing. I was like, oh, gosh, man. All right, let's heal up. And
yeah,
then, just did the exact same damage again. I was like, oh. But
yeah.
save sphere is behind it, and here we go. It's our first little, kind of save point. It is a save sphere. It's sphere shaped. It's blue. Definitely not a Moogle with the book that saves for us.
Yeah, we'll find out the Moogles are a little bit sort of missing in this game, but regardless, one nice thing about the save sphere that I really like about this game is that it restores your HP and MP every time you
Yes.
touch it. So that is really, really nice. It's just something about this game where, if you're around a save sphere, you can just get in a bunch of random battles,
Yeah.
go back, touch it. You don't have to use tents all the time. So pretty
It
nice.
does make it much easier. So just moving on, you have to continue fighting through the sin scales. This time though, it's like literal a sea of them. You'll take out a couple, and Orin's like, "Oh, hey, hit that instead. Trust me." And so it's kind of like assuming like a gas tanker or something equivalent of
Yeah.
Zanarkand's gas tankers, because you hit it, it falls, it explodes. I can't tell if it like explodes the road up or if it blows the building down onto the road. I don't really know, but
That's a good point. I never could understand because the scene that happens, it blows up, and then all of a sudden Titus is like flying towards the projection of
yeah.
like Jack on the screen. So it's not really clear like where the heck he's going and how he survives after that. But hey, Final Fantasy, man.
Final Fantasy, because if you couldn't believe
Doesn't have to
that,
be
well,
explained.
go ahead and Orin's like, go. Now you run across that burning, blowing up section. Good timing for Tidus, man. He jumps right as the whole thing blows up, and it must be just the momentum from the explosion, because I swear, dude, that dude like gets propelled like 100 yards, just
Yeah.
doesn't
It's
quite
it's
make it
just
though. I don't know how Orin made it though. So Orin's up there, and
yeah. Well, Orin, and that's the funny thing, he's just standing there like a statue,
no,
cool,
it's
cool,
like
calm and collected.
It's like, dude,
And
there's a
then
ladder right over there. That's why I said like go. It's like
yeah, he
take the
takes the
ladder.
elevator out.
Yeah.
He doesn't worry about anything else. But I love that scene with Titus where you just see his shoe, like his foot, and then his jump off. It's like, ugh, and it's a one leg jump,
Heck yeah.
and he somehow, yeah, he just like goes literally 100 feet or
He's
something.
the
It's insane.
star player of the Zanarkand high jump team. Yes.
Seriously.
No, but here we get the next just awesome cinematic. I mean, this one's a real treat. You could clearly it's sin because it's like this I don't know, a nostril. We'll just call it that. It's a nostril. It's
Yeah.
sucking he's
Yeah,
sucking
yeah.
things up into it.
We'll keep it PG, guys.
Yeah, and so it's but everything's like again kind of being pulled to it like you said, like a black hole. He's got like a gravitational pull about it, and
Yeah.
you kind of see debris like circling around underneath as well.
Bridges, buildings,
Yep.
everything's getting
And
sucked up.
yep, and Orin grabs Tidus, and he's like, this is it. Well, actually before that he looks up to Sin and he says, are you sure? And it's like,
Yeah.
If you seriously first time playing this, you're just like, yeah, sure, go ahead. I don't know,
It's
man. Yeah, go
bizarre. I
for it.
know,
Like,
seriously.
but this is Tidus's story. Here we go, and it kind of again, it kind of distorts the light, and then, like it literally looks like it's just pulling them into
Yeah.
something, right into a black hole, I guess. Yeah. We can now move. It's like a different screen. It's really hard to describe, but it's kind of like Zanarkand in ruins, and you're kind of like floating, kind
It's
of.
like
And
you're in water.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you gotta just basically keep diving. It's impossible to miss.
Well, yeah, this is the part where, so when you start off, he's sort of like in this dream state. He's not sure where he is, what's going on after all of that. And then next thing you know, he hears, "Hey,
Hey,
hey!"
hey. In which
Yeah,
this
it's like,
is
"My old
twofold
man?"
for Alex and I, because one, it reminds us of this, and second, we love Time Splitters 2. If you've never played that, you should go back. And they do the same thing when you like if you get spotted by the enemies, they
Yeah.
go, hey.
Hey.
And so
Yeah.
it's twofold. We
So
love that.
So there you go. Anyways, but that's where we're at. And yeah, it's kind of like this it's like an old destroyed Coliseum. Basically, you swim towards it and it turns into a little kid, which this is all very confusing right now, especially for us to explain to you guys because we don't want to sit here and like literally spoil
Yes.
everything, even though we played
Yes.
this game a million times.
Yeah, and in the dream he was alone and he didn't want to be alone anymore. And so, anyways, that's how that ends.
Yeah.
And so, kind of going forward, he kind of wakes up in it's ruins. This area is called ruins, and so you can now finally have some free motion. The game essentially starts for you.
Yeah, the way it starts out too, it's a real like dark environment. It's a very like creepy, dark kind of place that he wakes
Yeah,
up in. And of course, he's alone. He has no idea what's going on or where he is. And so, yeah, the way this game starts out, I think is great, where you're just literally thrown into it, just like that. It's like, okay, well, this just happened. And so now, we got to try and figure out what the heck is going on and where to
yeah,
go.
yeah. And while you do have a couple of things you can do in this very first area, if you kind of just stick to the left side, doesn't matter which one you do first, but on the left side, there's kind of some ruins that you can go up and actually walk on. And there's like this kind of like half sphere on the ground. And if you actually touch it, it says it's an Albed compilation sphere. And essentially what it is, and without spoiling too much or giving it too much away, Albed's like kind of it's the game's language. It has a different whole language. And you can decipher it essentially. And so this sphere allows you to pull all the ones you've collected on different saves. And so that way it can fill it in for you instantly if you so choose. Obviously, we're just going to go about this as if we have not done that, but that is there. Also, right there is a treasure chest with 2 potions. So cool. You got yourself a little stock of potions going already.
Yep. Once you check that out, on the right-hand side, if you swim over to some other ruins, you'll know which ones they are because there'll be like some steps leading to them so you can get up there.
Yep.
You can find another chest for 200 gil.
Whew.
And you'll also find like this little sort of like a blue orb kind of stuck on the wall or something like that, like a mural. If you go and examine it, it'll say something in that weird language where the only thing you can actually make out is Makalania. And Tidus will just say, nope, can't read it.
Nope, can't read it. Yes. But on that note, if you did, already have all of it and you came over here and you did the compilation sphere, you'd be able to actually read it. So that is something kind of cool. Really just moving forward, the next spot is pretty linear. If you just take a little side path that has a high potion, and then if you return and go on, you fall into the water. So one thing after another here for this guy. And you get into a forced battle with 3 Sahagin. I guess I said that right. Really easy.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty much one hit kills on them.
Exactly.
Really no danger of anything in this. But if you kill 2, now someone a little larger or something a little larger comes out.
Yeah, kind of a cool like in-battle cutscene where you're fighting them, you kill 2 off, and then it sort of cuts right there. And you see the Sahagin kind of like looking around and stuff, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere comes this like giant
beast.
Again, like
underwater
it's hard
beast.
to explain these things, guys, but yeah, you know how it is. It's this giant boss-looking beast guy comes out, eats the Sahagin, and turns around, and then pretty much we're his next prey. So
yep.
right into
Not going down without a
mode.
fight, though, man. Not going down. And this dude name is Geoscano, I guess.
Yeah, Goscano, Gioscano, yeah, I think you got it.
Geoscano, your mom. Anyway, so you fight him, but it's a timed battle here. Essentially, is what it is. It's another battle. It's impossible for you to die. His attacks will only just ever do 50% of your health. So again,
And
don't
he'll
worry about
only use
potions.
and he'll only use like 2 or 3, I think,
Yeah.
scripted, and then at that point it'll be over.
It'll
So
be over. Interesting thing, if you stole, which it's impossible to do, but if you did
yeah,
steal, you can steal a water gem from him. So
that's so weird.
there's that little tidbit info. I know that's so strange, but apparently you can. And so now another little scene begins, of course, which it's just full of them in the beginning here, which is why we are, we're going on about 30 plus minutes and we haven't made it very far in the game, but he chases Tidus, and Tidus essentially finds a little doorway and swims through it. And one of our favorite quotes, which we have already said in the podcast multiple times, is, "I was out of the frying pan and into the freezer."
Exactly.
Dude,
I love that one.
classic voice acting right there.
Yep.
Pristine. All right.
Into the freezer. Yeah.
then-
And then basically you just walk up the stairs that are there, and this is the part again where I think we made a post about this too,
Oh
but
yes.
no, that's right. It was a bold move that you did a little bit while back where you
Yes.
get to see Titus's incredible strength.
Dude.
And when I say incredible, you know what I'm talking about.
This dude has like circus freak strength. I don't even know. Like first he's hit people out of spheres like no problem. He's throwing blitz balls underwater going 100 miles an hour. And now he just like no problem. Just gonna push over this marble pillar that's blocking my doorway. Oof, there we go. Oh.
Yeah, and this is the funniest part too. Like it's just like sitting there, it's like cold. And so pretty much what we have to do now, we found some old burnt logs, which undoubtedly are probably soaking wet. But anyways, let's disregard that, and we just got to find some stuff to get it started again and get a fire going here.
Yep, and there's just various rooms and stuff, so just kind of knock it out real quick. There's a singular room that has like a drawer and has flint in it, so you got to go in there and pick that out. In the main room that you're in and walk around, there is an X potion, if you can believe it. I mean, that is, wow. You can get an X potion and an ether, so that's pretty cool. Yep. And then the other room you can go into has a withered bouquet, and you just gotta, and that's kind of up the path, so you do have to keep going all the way up and then kind of just follow the path all the way down, and you can get another high potion. So once you get all that stuff, you go back to the logs, and dude, like a charm, just poof, starts right up, no problem.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense either because the logs, the way that they're arranged, anybody who's watching this, you all know, there's no way you're going to start a fire like that. Okay,
soaked in gasoline is what they were.
For real, it's like it just doesn't make any sense.
Then,
but anyways.
Well, and this is actually kind of a Bear Grylls moment too, because if you are cold, really cold, and you start a fire, what you need to do is lay down on very cold, damp stone. Don't huddle around the fire. No, you need to lean back and lay down on that cold ground.
I remember you even joking about that like way back in the day when we first played this, when we were like, 14, 15 years old or something like that. So that's...
And now, I need food, is what he says, but...
I'm hungry.
Well, he goes to sleep, and he has a very strange dream. He made a bad call. The team lost because of him. Orn thought he would be crying. Who, me? And then here comes this little boy again. He's got a very great one-liner.
You cried.
Well, that was very needed info, guys. Thanks for that. Okay.
And that's an interesting point, and we can maybe elaborate on that a little bit later when we have more information to work
context,
with.
Yes.
Just in general, the way I take it is that scene occurred obviously before the destruction of Zanarkand. Yep. But that had actually happened. Like that was sort of like a thing that happened before that. So.
Yep. And I mean, that's the thing. They're just making it like he's just dreaming. It's just a dream he has, no big deal and stuff. And so he wakes up though, and dude, this guy cannot catch a break. He goes to like this kind of monster that's like, I don't know, it's got like blades as legs essentially, and it runs circles around him until it drops down. And what do you know? Now we have to fight another boss. Baku's at it again. And so this time he's wearing a dragon hat. You can actually die this time, though. So if you do need to heal up, but you probably won't need to unless
Yeah.
he gets a crit on you or you miss a couple times to prolong the battle or something.
Yeah.
But you do.
It's nice to save Tidus's overdrive to this point. I tend to do that just
Okay.
because you can get a quick like 300 on him, and then but
Yes.
yeah, this dude actually does kind of hit pretty hard. So this is the first one, like you were just saying, Mark, that you could actually potentially die because I believe each attack he does somewhere like around 120 damage or
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. Something
You've
about
got
that.
520, so yeah,
Yep. So
use
he does get you
potions.
down. And then also on Titus's overdrives, real quick, and we will go into more detail, but it is very important to use Titus's overdrives as soon as you get them because to
Hmm.
unlock the further ones, you just need to use them. So it's like
Yeah,
don't hold on to his for long periods of time, just waiting for
and
bosses or something.
and it's quite a bit too. I think for the first one, it's
I think that's like 10
honestly
times,
it's
isn't it?
something like no, it's like 30 times, man.
Wow. Okay.
You've got to
Yeah.
use it.
Yeah.
Or
So
no,
definitely
no,
use it.
sorry, I got that wrong. It's not for the first one. Yeah, for the first one, I think it is about 10 or 15. Second one's probably like 30.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
definitely
yeah.
use them. Just a little side note, but yeah. So once you do, I don't know how much damage it actually is. Maybe it's half, or maybe it's just maybe it is like a few hundred or so. Very interesting thing. It goes to like the door. The monster is kind enough to wait. Right. The monster is very
Hmm.
interested in this also, and there's something strange inside the ruins. Who you gonna call? Owlbed Fiend Busters! And like, because it's seriously like the door blows up and they're all standing there like, yeah.
Posing. And I posted a thing on Instagram, a picture of this a long time ago, but the way that they're all sitting there posing, like you've got the guys basically all stood up there with their guns and everything,
Yeah.
and then you've got this random person just standing there with her hand on her hip, looking all cool, just
Yes.
posing.
And then she gives a little like hand wave, like, come get some. And
Yeah,
then,
it's like, let's go.
cool, you're on my side, is what Titus says, something like that. And
You're on
so
my side? Cool.
yeah, there you go. And so she can use grenades. Actually, it
Yeah,
makes you use this first one. It makes you use a grenade. I don't know why you wouldn't want to. And
which
so,
are awesome.
dude, yes, they do so much damage. And a cool thing about this
350
guy is that
damage.
he has like an infinite supply of grenades, doesn't he? That you can steal.
I don't know, but I mean, what I tend to do, I think you start off with only two,
Yes.
so you're definitely going to need to steal. So I would use one, steal, and usually you'll get one easily,
Yes.
and then you can go for a second one. I believe this guy has a rare steal of two grenades, but it will get to the point where you're not going to be stealing much. So
Right.
basically, you're just going to want to kill the guy
Well,
pretty
in
soon.
really 2-3 tops, and he's dead anyways for using the
Yeah.
grenades. And so that's done. After what ensues after this is pretty interesting. Like all the Albad dudes come around and they like grab Titus, and they're all like, speaking their Albad. No one understands, and there's like kind of a little thing. And so the chick says something, and then she comes all close, and it's kind of like, "Whoo, man, here we go, Titus. Kind of lucky break, man. You got yourself a girlfriend." She all leans in. Psych! She just like totally sucker punches him in the stomach, man. So
Yeah.
rude.
Well, they
Kuno.
they yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. They have them at like knife point. They've got they grab him and then they've got pretty much a knife to his
Yeah.
throat.
Yeah.
Everything's real crazy. They're talking in that language that we can't understand, obviously. And real quick, gotta say that's one of the things that I love so much about this game is I think it gets you to invest in his situation because you're sort of put in the shoes of this how old is he? Like 18-year-old kid
Sure.
thrown into
Yeah.
this situation, right? And you have no idea what's going on. You've got people speaking different languages and all these different situations. So,
Yeah. Next scene after this is you're kind of you're on a ship at sea is what you're on. Pretty cool looking ship if I do say so. And you're on the deck, and again, it's just kind of more gibberish from them, right? They're all talking to him, it seems, or something. And
mhm.
then out comes the king of them all, in which we will not say it for the sake of the game, but oh, do I want to say some
Yeah,
things right now? But
yeah.
regardless, he comes out and he's like holding some goggles and goes, hmm, 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 hmm. Yeah, right,
And I love,
whatever.
yeah, I
that,
love
it,
Titus. It's
that he
like,
does it
I
again.
said I don't understand.
Yeah, to get smacked. Then out of the blue, man, here comes this chick. She's like, he says that if you work for us, you could stay or something like that. It's like,
Yeah.
Why'd you wait till now to say something? Like, what the heck? You could
Yeah.
understand us this whole time? What the heck? So why'd you make him grunt at us? You could have just said it from the beginning. Like, you didn't need to do all that.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
And then they
frustrating.
basically, it's really funny how they're, well, I say funny, like in a facetious manner, of course, because they're like hitting him with the butt of their gun and stuff.
Yeah,
And
I
then he's
know.
like, okay, I'll work. He
Okay, I'll
has
work.
no choice at this point.
Yes. So at this point, you can now move around and don't talk to anyone. Well, I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but do actually talk to, okay, rather, don't talk to the chick. If you do talk to the
Yeah.
Albeds, they will actually each give you a potion. And
Yeah.
then on the, I think it's like in the back right, there is the first Albed primer. So this is
Yeah.
how we're going to translate this language. I think this one's Y to A. I don't think that's really that important, but this is how it's going to go, right? We're going to find these. We're going to slowly translate this language, and it's pretty cool aspect actually. I think it's pretty fun thing.
It is, yeah, and there are some missable ones that, of course, we'll pay special attention to, things like that. So definitely make sure that you get this one.
Yes.
And then when you go and talk to the mystery girl, you'll get like a little tutorial on the essentially what is the leveling up situation in this game.
Yep. Yeah, the sphere grid, and of course we talked about which ones we're using in our each individual games, and it's self-explanatory. You know, you level up, you get to move, and then you just use the corresponding sphere to learn whatever it is, essentially.
Hmm.
So pretty easy. So now you got to go in the water. Tidus does a little parkour, gives a thumbs up, dives in, and honestly, I say just head straight down that chain, man. You will. This is kind of the first chance that you can just fight enemies if you want random battles.
Yep.
But gosh, the piranhas just give such crap experiences, not
Yeah.
worth your time, in my opinion.
So a couple things to note. Yeah, exactly. I mean, you hit the nail on the head. You're not going to get a level up with the random party member that you have here. Her AP requirement is just so high, you're never going to get it.
Yeah, it's like
Something like
hundreds,
in the
right?
hundreds. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and with Tidus, you might only get about two, but it's not a horrible idea to stick around. They have all of them have grenades of steel, and by all of them I mean basically the piranhas will show up in different groups
Yeah,
that'll
different
be
size
counted as
groups.
different enemies. So you'll have
Yeah.
like a single one, a one in group in pairs of two, and then one in a group of three. They
Yep.
all have grenades of steel. Grenades will overkill all of them, which, while we're on that note, just to mention, basically, overkill will increase your AP and also double the amount of items that you get. So you can get
Yes.
spheres in here, you can get like power, mana, and speed spheres. But other than that, I agree, don't waste too much time on these guys.
Yeah, pretty easy. So if you do just follow that chain all the way down, you kind of, it looks like it's like an underground facility of some sort. And, you know, of course, obviously we know that now this chick can breathe underwater also. Everyone's just has gills, I guess. This is why they need Tidus, because he had gills. And so I guess they're down there swimming. And we've definitely done a bold move in posts about this before, because, you know,
Yeah.
if you ever need to turn on electronics, don't look for the on button. Don't do that. Just start punching it, man. You're gonna hit it eventually, and who knows? You might hit like some secret compartment that gives you treasure. I mean, you never know.
I know, I love this, and you see this in like later Final Fantasies too. We'll definitely draw that comparison when the time
Oh
comes,
yes.
because if you're ever having a hard time with your tablet, let me tell you something. You've been doing it wrong this whole time. You just punch the screen.
Punch it. Not
Solve every
easily,
problem.
mind you. Like punch it.
Yeah.
Right? Put some weight behind it. Slam it
Yeah.
down.
Break the
Yes.
screen.
Yes. So after
Yeah.
doing that to two different electronics, it seems to work because the facility is all lighting up and stuff. But then you get kind of a glimpse of yet another monster, right? And
Yep,
so,
here we go again.
yep, backtrack a little bit, and now we get our next boss, which is Tros.
Yep.
He actually looks really cool, man. I like it. It's like what he's essentially kind of looks like a squid type thing, and he's kind of got like a nautilus shell as a
Yeah.
hat on and stuff. And yeah, he's pretty sweet looking.
Yeah, some kind of mollusk looking thing. But
Yeah.
basically, this guy, we don't have too many options at this point as far as moves. What you could do is use Tidus's cheer ability if you manage to learn that. It's his first ability. I think you only need one sphere level, which you would have had from
Yes.
the previous boss battle. But cheer is really nice because it'll increase your party's strength and defense ratings by, I forget, I think it's a percentage amount. But anyways, you can use that and then just basically using grenades, and you can also steal grenades from this guy.
Yep. And he does have like a little quirk where he'll kind of like swim to the other side, and so you can't reach him. And the first time he does it, you can just have to stand by. If you stand by, it heals you for I think 50, or you can use potions if you really need to. I think I did in my playthrough, my YouTube video I did of this, so that way it's
Yes.
just
Standby isn't
it's a little
all that
overkill,
great.
but why not? They're already kind of stacking up. And then the second time he does it, you can have Tidus do a trigger and have pincer attack, and then you can like basically
Yep.
just be on either side of him. He won't escape anymore. It's
Yeah,
really easy fight.
exactly. And then after you beat that guy, he doesn't have any great drops or anything like that. He will drop a couple of ability spheres, which you'll find are going to be
Oh
really
man,
limiting pretty
yeah.
soon here. So and that's another note with the piranhas, the only reason why you would want to maybe hang around and battle them is they can also drop ability spheres, which at this point you might not be thinking is a great deal, but you will run out of them, and
Oh
there will be a
yes,
point in which enemies that drop ability spheres become really rare. So,
yes they do. Pretty important ones, especially when you start to get more characters. And so,
mhm.
well, the whole facility lights up though, and it's you do have to swim a little bit more, essentially like find this underwater thing. I think it's actually even translated for the I'll bet here in a moment. The airship is what they say. And so
Yeah,
that's pretty
yeah.
cool. It's like, oh heck yeah, man, we just found ours. We got it already. Now we can go and fly around. No, unfortunately not. But you do you do go back to the boat, and a great moment here is everyone's heading in for some chow, and Taz is like, heck yeah, he's just rolling in, and they just turn around and push him out. It's like, psych, you ain't one of the bros yet, buddy.
Yeah. It's
I
like
helped out,
Akudala.
didn't I?
Yeah, it's like Akudala. I helped out, didn't I?
Yeah.
You got it.
Oh boy, and then here's the next best part also, if so it's such gold here in the beginning of this game is, he's sleeping, he's yawning,
It's like
and
hungry.
hungry, and here comes a tray
Yeah.
of food right on, and it's just it's I'll bet spaghetti is what I call it. You guys can call it
Yeah.
whatever you want, but we know this part. We know it. Mm, 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 mm. Hey, because you eat too fast, right? We already know that. And
You
then
you guys know what we're doing. Yeah, we're got of course the reenactment of him eating the food and then choking on it. It's just the funniest scene ever. The fact that like she offers up the water is mm,
dude,
so
and
funny.
clearly he isn't as hungry as he's leading on because he had those 2 bites and he doesn't even eat anymore after that.
Yep, then he
It's
gets up and starts laughing like a crazy
yeah, he
person.
just gets up and she goes, "Hey!" again.
Hey.
Why, hello there. What is your name? Riku. And so yes, he starts laughing. He's so happy, that
Yeah.
she understands him, but he's like, but why didn't you say so earlier? It's like, oh, we thought we was a friend. And then she lets him know that we means you, or a fiend rather, not friend. We thought
Yeah.
you were a fiend. And stop right there. Okay. Tidus has 2 arms, 2 legs. He stands upright. He has a head. He has eyes. He has hair. He looks very much like
Yeah.
a human being. I will go ahead and say no fiend in all of Spira that I've ever seen looks like a human being whatsoever. Why did they think he was a fiend? I don't understand this part. Like, dude,
I
he's
don't either.
clearly a human, man. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah, it is strange. I mean, from the context of if this is like your first time playing the game, you have no idea, then maybe. But no, yeah, you'll understand that there are no fiends
Retrospect
that
look,
look like
man. It's
that.
like you guys were just being jerks and trying to rob a man. I mean, come on. Like, he does not
Yeah.
look like a fiend whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, but this is the first time like this is a pretty big deal for Titus because, of course, we've been talking about how he's thrown into this world. He has no idea what's going on.
Yes.
Thinking about what's happened since the game he was playing, the destruction of Zanarkand, Orin, all of this stuff. So the first person that finally he can talk to. So that's
Yes.
a pretty big deal.
Yeah, until unfortunately he learns something, right? Where I think something like, well, she asks him where he's from or something, and he says Zanarkand, star
Yep.
player of the Zanarkand, and then it
So like
starts
you
to
hit
like,
your head.
you hit me, right?
Yeah.
And so she lets him know that, well, actually, Zanarkand was destroyed 1,000 years ago, buddy. And so no one played Blitzball there, you know, and so
Hmm.
he's just like, what are you talking about? You know, like, that's obviously been my whole life. I literally was just there when it got blown up, and
Yep,
you're
he just
telling
saw it
me that
happen.
was 1,000 years ago?
No way.
No way. Yeah. And piecing that together are basically what we know. So apparently, whatever happened and whatever Orin threw him up into has transported him 1,000 years into the future. That
Yeah,
is insane. I mean, that is literally crazy.
exactly. I know. I mean, did Orin make all of this happen?
Yeah, what a
Why
jerk.
did Sin attack? Why did all of this happen?
Yes, and well, that is where we are going to end it. We left it kind of right there. I know it was kind of like mid conversation about this, but we can't stop the events that happen after this, and we need ample
Mhm.
time to make fun of the next scene. So we're gonna have to just
Exactly.
stop it right there. But we do hope that you all enjoyed our first Final Fantasy X episode. I know it was a lot of just fun banter between Alex and myself, but the story, obviously, there's a lot here to unpack in the very beginning, and so we kind of like to just take it nice and lightheartedly. But oh man, I'm excited, dude. I'm very excited.
Same here. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it is. Well, we thank you all for hanging out and listening to this episode. You can go to our Instagram. It is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks. We, of course, are now going to be posting pretty much all Final Fantasy X content. So we do have all those screens and clips and stuff. Of course, there's gonna be some fantastic ones coming your way this week with just all those early cinematics. You can also go to our website, finalstopforfinalfantasytalks.com. We just have a little bit more info there. You can listen to the episodes, blog posts. That's pretty much it these days. Also, be looking for that YouTube video, as I said, the day after the episode. I can't promise you exactly when the episodes are coming out, but the day after the YouTube one will. So just kind of a little extra there. Hope you guys enjoy that. Well, that's going to do it for us this time. I'm Mark,
And I'm Alex.
and this is Final Stop for Final Fantasy Talks.